when the book was fresher in your memory. You know, back when there were dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah, God, used to nurses to keep them out of the garbage.
And in that, you actually said that you skipped past that sequence and
Yes.
wrote the rest of the book, and then came back to the question, where are the damn
No, what I
unicorns?
skipped was the actual 2 or 3 paragraphs where you see the unicorns coming out of the sea.
Okay.
By that time I knew. I just didn't know how to describe it.
Okay.
I figured that was one thing about doing the occasional film script. You learn that you're not necessarily bound to the linear. I used to get hung up on passages, sentences, paragraphs, for weeks at a time, feeling that I couldn't go any further until I figured this out. And I learned from movie work, I think, skip it. Skip that scene and just go on, think of the next modular sequence, so to speak, and then come back, see how it affects, what you've done since affects that thing you want to put in. So I do remember that the last thing I did in the book was the unicorns coming out of the sea.
Okay. You?
I've noticed this one in a lot of your other short stories, your characters really don't have a happily ever after. There's always a tragic.
Not tragic necessarily. I do believe in bittersweet. I don't believe in pure sugar. And I do believe with Schmendrick that there are no happy endings because nothing ends. Stories go on. Tolkien says that about the road, but it's Mary Norton who created The Borrowers, who says at one point, after she'd written 4 books about the Borrowers, stories don't end. It's just that at some point one stops telling them. And I've told you really everything I know about the Borrowers. I can make guesses, and she does, as to what happened to this or that character, but I don't know. In the same way, I can never shut doors tightly. I can never just cut the thread, that's it, there is no more. There's always more. And very little happiness is unadulterated. Very little sorrow doesn't have some kind of, not redeeming quality, but something that lifts you still, or there wouldn't be people. It's like that. There's the title of a Samuel Beckett play, which is called I Can't Go On, I'll Go On.